new intro, Jerry. The new intro.
Sounds good.
Welcome to Loud and Nerdy on a Tuesday night. My name is JW Colwell. I'm exhausted from spooky season. I don't know how you feel about it, Jerry. I'm exhausted.
Same
I,
here.
First off, I'd like to introduce you. This is Jerry Kimura. He's a good friend from high school, but he's an even better person now. Like we just found each other drifting through life again. It's our first episode ever on the Indie Escape Network with Loud and Nerdy. I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be part of the network. Don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have all kinds of cool things going on with this move. Jerry, how are you doing on the first Tuesday in November? How are things
Um,
going?
okay. I mean, I got a kid with a broken thumb and wrist now, but other than that,
What? Yeah, I was looking at that. What exactly happened?
he was playing lacrosse and he fell and he slammed into some bleachers and stuff. I think that my kids, Gary Myers from high school, I think we switched kids somehow because that kid had a cast on. Remember from sixth grade till he graduated, he had a cast on. I think I got his kids. Or he got my kids rather. Sorry.
Yeah, they're your kids are fragile. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it in like we need to make sure we're watching them at all times.
We're good at meeting deductibles.
Deductible Mets. Not exactly what you want to hear in this day and age.
Nope.
Deductibles are ridiculous. Anyway, you are in a band called Slapjaw. I am so excited you're here with me tonight. We'll have another friend with us next week, but this Tuesday is his union meeting. Although I do want to put this question out to the Loud Nerdy universe, and especially since we're on a new network and all, and we can make changes at random now. Would you like to go an hour later? Would you like to say to go 9 o'clock? Then 9 to 10, and that way it gives us a little bit of leeway, and it gets everybody kind of like the kids are in bed. Might make it a little easier on me, but I'm going to leave it up to the fans, people who watch the show on the regular. But we're going to talk about that as well. So in the first episode of this new place, I do want to do some old things that we used to do to give you an idea of what the show is about and what it started out as, especially because the show kind of got revived during the COVID pandemic, right? It was the person I ran the show with before we came over to the new show here. We were gonna cancel it, and then because the pandemic was going, nobody had anything to do, so we started getting together and doing things. And we used to do a segment that I really loved called Movie Motivation, and I'm gonna run the intro. Good segment. So I'm gonna work my ass off to get this segment back up and running because I enjoyed it so much. But the only way I could do it on the proper Jerry is if I did one myself to give you an idea of what is behind me, who I am, what kind of a movie fan I am, what kind of a person I am, who my favorite characters are. So I'm going to do a movie motivation, Jerry. The idea is you can try to guess what movie it's from. It's easy. It's real easy. Not to put any pressure on you. I know I put a lot of pressure on you with the Reddit
All the time.
Motherfucker. But I think this one's super easy. I think you're going to get it. But it also gives you an idea of what I'm looking to do. But the idea of movie motivation when we were doing the show during the pandemic, it was just to make everybody feel a little bit better, to jump up and just say, how movies can help you or television can help you and how it can just make you feel much better, pop culture and being okay with being loud and being nerdy and being, the type of person that watches stuff and really enjoys stuff and gets into things. Being a fan of things isn't a problem. It's a solution. It's a way for us to come together. You're never going to find a more disparaging, not disparaging, disparate group of people that are in a horror movie on a Friday night. Am I right, Jerry? Like you have teenagers, you have older people, you have, like you're never going to find a better group of people all going for the same vibe, all going for the same jolt, right?
Right.
So I just think movies and television and pop culture can bring us together. I want that to be the case. I want Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Marvel and DC and everything. The Hunger Games movies and all these movies. I want everything to be great. I don't want anything to suck. I would like everything to be good. So I go into it with my head above water, where I try to I want to love things. So I don't want to hate things. I do hate things, but I don't want to. And so here's my movie motivation. I'm just gonna try to click out the screen so it's just me. Give me a second, Jerry. I'll bring it right back, okay?
Yep.
Here we go with movie motivation. What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no. It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Okay, who's with me? Let's go. Come on. What the fuck happened to the Delta I used to know? Where's the spirit? Where's the guts? Huh? This could be the greatest night of our lives, but you're going to let it be the worst. Ooh, we're afraid to go with you, Bluto. We might get in trouble. Well, just kiss my ass from now on. Not me. I'm not going to take this. Wormer, he's a dead man. Marmalade, dead. Niedermeyer, and scene. That, Jerry, is a pretty amazing monologue from a movie I love.
I just want to say that I knew it.
Did she
Put the
know it?
lights over here. It's Animal House.
It is Animal House, yes.
Well, she knew it.
One of the greatest. So I have a particular fondness for fat icon characters. Bluto Blutarski is one of them. Uncle Buck would be another one. But movie motivation, if you don't get jived, even though he gets bombing Pearl Harbor wrong, if you don't get up when Bluto's trying to incite Delta to go crazy on the very bad people that are at their university, I can't help you. Let's go to some.
What am I?
A zit. Get it? It's such a good movie. Okay, so some comments. Good evening, friends, and welcome to the Indie Escape Network. Thank you, Ken. You've been joining us everywhere, and I know you're having, I'm friends on Facebook with Ken, and I know he's having a rough week. I'm glad you're joining us. I hope I can give you a little bit of levity, make you laugh a little bit. I know you're having a rough week. Joe Ridgely, let's see. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm ecstatic to have you guys joining the network. We're happy to be here. It should be more fun an hour later. Jerry and Kyle should be more wasted. Fair. That's fair. I don't know that Jerry drinks as much. Sean, hey brother. Hey Sean, good to see you. So cool. Alex Ridgely. Thank you very much, Alex. Good to see you here with us. And Ryan Lamont, thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. So one of my goals during the spooky season, Jerry, was to watch 31 movies in 31 days, 31 new horror films I had not seen, or horror, I did include a couple that I had to do for Generation Movie. So it would probably be I ended up with 22, give or take, new horror films out of 31 days. I think that's pretty good. I did include Rose Red is 6 hours long. So oh my God. It's the first thing I want to talk about because it was long, but it is available to watch and you can watch it in parts. And I don't remember watching it. I remember watching all of the other ones. I remember watching The Shining by Mick Garris, right? Mick Garris directing The Shining, where they use actual mallets. But Rose Red, Jerry, blew me away. It was really good.
Yeah, it's like a 2-disc set that I have, 2 DVD set.
Yeah, but the episodes run about an hour and a half. And when I think about it, it was 3 different nights, and ABC in the 90s and the 2000s, right around the aughts, did a lot of Stephen King miniseries. They did The Stand. They did Storm of the Century, which is an amazing an amazing version of The Lottery that everybody should see. It's a really great, kind of really well done Stephen King. It's one of his only originals for television that he did. But they did the Langoliers, they did the Tommyknockers, they did all of them. But Rose Red stands out as the cast of Rose Red is an incredible cast. So I don't remember watching it, and I watched it for the first time, and I was blown away by it. I was like, this is actually really for a spooky house movie, right?
Right.
It's a pretty well done movie. It's got
It had a decent pace to it, so it wasn't
had a decent pace, and because they were doing it for 2 hours a night, Nancy Travis is in it, and Melanie Lysinski is in it, who of course has gone on to do bigger things like, she's doing a lot of stuff right now. When it was in the last season of Last of Us, she's doing a lot of things right now. And she's one of she did a lot of great movies when she's on Yellow Jackets, of course. But she's doing a lot of she's done a lot of great movies. If you look back at her career, she's one of the better actresses that we have, and she's continuing to work. Like, she hasn't stopped working. She's in The Frightener. She's in Heavenly Creatures. But I'm a Cheerleader. She's in Coyote Ugly. She's all over the place. And she's a really good actress. And I was just impressed with how good the movie was. So I enjoyed that.
Did you see The Diary of Ellen Rimbauer? I think that's like
that's the sequel.
Sequel or prequel? I can't remember.
No, it's a prequel. It is a prequel. It
was made after, but it was
made after, but it's a prequel because it's about the person inside the house.
Right.
I haven't seen it yet, but I plan on getting to it. But it's Rose Red, of course, if anybody doesn't know, is Stephen King's ode to the Winchester House, which is one of the scariest houses on the planet, and is completely, it's a house in San Francisco that's completely haunted, and it just has all kinds of weird quirks to it. And they made a Winchester movie, but it isn't nearly as good as Rose Red is. Karen Turek originally wrote, that's so many movies. Yeah, it was way too many movies. It was it was 25, and I was trying to get to 30. So near the end, I went on a cruise, and I tried to make up, and I couldn't, I finally got towards the end, and I just had to stop. My daughter doesn't even watch shows I'm on. Oh, well, I appreciate she's here. I mean, I am cooler, Joe. I feel bad that his daughter doesn't watch.
It's not Dad.
That's well, yeah. Also, I'm not Dad. That's true. So Rose Red was one of the ones I really enjoyed. I also want to talk about some of the other ones I enjoyed, but I have the list. The list goes something like this. I'm going to read it off, Jerry, and I'll give you a brief thumbs up or thumbs down. A Curse of Frankenstein, I of course enjoyed because Hammer horror shit is just great. I did see for the first time Terrifier, and I understand.
Movie.
I understand why everybody loves them, right? They're not necessarily for me, but I get that there's a certain portion of the horror audience that when you watch a movie, we've been led astray with a lot of PG-13 horror films, right? Mm-hmm. And so you finally get to the point where you kind of want that. I'm going to a video store and I want to pick up Rawhead Rex type of movie. You know what I mean?
I like Rawhead Rex.
Rawhead Rex is a great movie. Based on Clive Barker, great. I watched The Pope's Exorcist, which I ended up liking up until
I watched that too this month.
I liked it. I liked it until the last act. I liked that it was really serious.
It's the first thing I think of. They're over that pool and they're both
the first two acts are fantastic. Oh, no. The third act, I didn't need all the CGI and I didn't need all the garbage. And I also love the ending where he's going into the Vatican and he's got the one priest with him that's been with him the whole time. And they're looking at the map. And I'm like, this is like a Vatican Indiana Jones kind of thing.
They're going to be hunters. Yeah.
They got to be hunters. And I was like, I like that so much more. I think it's a great role for Crow, and I just I didn't like the last third. I
Yeah,
thought they got real lazy at the last
I
third.
agree.
They were super cool, and then they were just like, well, we don't know what else to do. We're just gonna
They
we're just
took
gonna
it over.
bombard.
They took it too far over the top, really.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Then I saw Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2, I think, is better than Terrifier 1 by a long shot, mainly because if you don't have somebody that's his equal, there's not a lot of fun to be had with just fodder. I don't know, for me.
Right.
Like Michael has Jamie Lee Curtis, Jason has Amy Steele and a couple of the other Friday the 13th people, right? Art needs a
Final
protagonist.
girl, kind of.
Well, he needs a final girl, but he also needs somebody that can break the rules like he does.
Right.
One of the things about Terrifier that I told you about, we talked about it a while ago. I just the idea that he used a gun bugged the shit out of me. And I know he's a cheater, but how can anybody win at that point? I then saw Exorcist Believer.
Can see it.
It's I don't know. It's just a miss. It's a misfire. Like it just doesn't do any of the things it wants. Pet Sematary Bloodlines I saw, which is supposed to be a prequel to the Pet Sematary that came out with John Lithgow in it, and it's basically a script that Paramount had because they took a sequence of the novel that talks a little bit about the town before Judd encounters the family that's in the real Pet Sematary. And it's just, I don't know. It was great to see some people in it, like David Duchovny was in it and Pam Grier was in it. So it was like, but overall, it's just one of those movies where it's like, okay, October or in the 7th, Totally Killer, one of my favorite movies of the month. Back to the Future meets Scream. It's the best way to describe it. It's the easiest way to describe it. But I can guarantee you, if you're of our age or if you're a little bit younger, I guarantee you the laughs will come because they're funny. The script is as sharp as the kills. The script is razor sharp. It knows what it is as a slasher movie. It knows what it is as a commentary on young people dealing with old people. It's practically perfect in every way. It has a really good cast. It's a great movie. I can't talk about that movie enough. I saw this movie, and this is one of the duds of the. We already talked about this, but this movie, this Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie,
terrible,
that they showed to a kid of fourth graders, in Miami, and I think the teacher got fired. But this movie isn't consumable for anybody. Like I look at it and it's just like it. It's so stretching and so trying so hard and just ends up being so lame that I just sat back and just went, okay. I don't like the suit, although they're upgrading the suit for the second one because there's a second one coming and Tigger's going to be in the second one. And
I think this falls in the category with those movies like Ginger Dead Man and stuff. Like they're just ridiculous, right?
The Jack Frost with the actual killer snowman. Yeah. I saw The Boogeyman. I really enjoyed The Boogeyman. It's another Stephen King adaptation. It's on Hulu. It's a pretty good adaptation. Creature's scary. It's well done. It has a nice concept. It has one of the girls from It. So I like that. I also saw The Mill on Hulu, which is Lil Ray Howard Henry. And just a weird movie about the grind, about the corporate grind. A guy gets he gets a job promotion and he gets put in a room where he has to push a rock. It's a weird movie, but it was fun. I saw House of Darkness, which was Neil LaBute. 5 minutes in, I know what was going on, and there's no chills after that fact. But basically, it's Justin Long playing a douchebag he picks up a woman at a bar, goes home with her, and she isn't what she seems. And then another girl shows up, and she isn't what she seems. And then the third girl shows up, and the guy is constantly getting hints, and he never takes any of them because he's trying to score with 3 women. And it's just, but it's Neil LaBute who did The Company of Men, so it's got a lot to say about toxic male social culture. But it's also a weird little horror film. Then I saw this, and this is one of the ones that I think I'm going to watch every year, just because I really loved it. The Empty Man. Now, this movie didn't get a lot of play, but it has since become kind of a cult classic kind of thing. But it is a fascinating little movie. It has a really long prologue that looks like it's part of a different movie. And then it kind of like settles in. And it's basically a Slender Man-ish kind of thing. But, James Badgedale and Marin Ireland, you might have seen some things recently. It's directed by David Pryor, who he's an up and coming horror movie director. He did one of the Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. But it's this wonderful movie that starts out in the middle of nowhere, and a bunch of hikers find a weird weird statue, and then it just kind of rolls from there, and it becomes like a cult kids movie kind of thing. And it tickled me in ways like I wasn't looking. I was just trying to find something to watch that day, and it ended up being one of my favorites that I watched this Halloween season. So, Empty Man, I highly recommend it. It's 2 hours long though. It is really long. It's dense, and you have to stay with it. You can't give up on it when it fools you. You can't go, oh fuck this, right? Like you can't, because it starts out one way and then it becomes something else. It becomes like a small town where a guy's trying to protect one of the teenagers he knows in the town. He's a former cop, so but you got to stick with it. It's one of those movies that if you stick with it, it will reward you. And you know what I mean? Like those kind of horror films, Jerry, are my favorite when you stick with it and then they reward you with like, here's the big reveal, like Malignant. 2 years ago, like a year ago, when Malignant came out and nobody knew what it was, and then the fucking third act reveal is so batshit insane that you go, that's my movie. Let's see, a couple comments. Hold on. So, Karen wrote, "You seem much cooler," and then Joe wrote, "And my wife," and then that I saw, and surprisingly, I liked it. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see too many movies for October, but I did catch a comedy horror Kevin Smith movie with the entire Johnny Depp family called Yoga Hosers. Okay. That's Kevin Smith being nice to his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter as well. You have to be pretty high to watch that, Ken. Yes, I would agree. Didn't our friends make a Thumper movie? No, they're working on a Thumper movie. It's the same guy. It's the same guy trying to get public domain stuff. It'd be like if Jerry and I decided to do a public domain movie because we could. I think Jerry and I could probably do it better. So Empty Man. Then I saw Dark Harvest, another one I really liked. That's another one that's kind of interesting. And
fun. Yeah, you mentioned that.
I really like that. I saw another one called Lantern Lane that was a waste of my time because it started out as cool people going to like an urban legend place, and then it was this weird slasher thing that it was supposed to be supernatural, and then it wasn't, and then it was really lame reason.
Turned Scooby-Doo.
I watched one horror documentary called Monster Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted House, about that dude that runs the house that says, if you can get through my house, you get $20,000. Right? And it turns out, this is shocking, Jerry. He's just a creepy predator. He's just a creepy guy that likes to torture people and get off on it. And people were dumb enough to pay him. And he never really had the $20,000. So he legitimately tortured people and did horrible shit to them. They paid him. and then they had no chance of getting through, like cutting their hair off and causing brain trauma, which was part. And also, these people all signed like the contracts they signed, Jerry, were this thick.
Yeah, and they can't go after them for
and
anything.
they can't go after him for anything. Like, I don't. That seems ridiculous. I saw another movie called Slaughterhouse. I told you, it's stupid, but it's fun, and I laughed. And the sloth had personality. The sloth puppet had personality. It reminded me of a Chucky movie. And he goes in. And basically, this one girl is fighting It's like a Mean Girls,
Right.
and one girl adopts a sloth to win her sorority presidency. And the sloth is a serial killer. And you know this because the sloth has killed an alligator in the wild, but nobody else knows this. The sloth also kills the guy that captured him after he kills the alligator.
Sounds like
Great.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yes. Jerry, you get me. You get me. I then saw Killers of the Flower Moon. People are going to say, hey, that's not a horror film. I said it's a 3-hour and 30-minute movie about horrible white people killing indigenous people, and it plays like a horror film. It is a horror film. It's just that it's Martin Scorsese, and it's an Oscar prestige movie, but it's a horror film. Trust me, the amount of murder in that movie
Is it
is
good
off
though?
the charts. Yeah, you know what? It is really good. It's I think the most interesting thing for me, Lily Gladstone is really good. The person that plays the indigenous woman, that she basically is at the brunt of everything that happens. She marries DiCaprio's character. DiCaprio's uncle is played by De Niro, who's a total sleazebag from the moment he gets on camera. It's well done. It's beautifully shot. There's incredible cinematography in it. Like the idea that there's a sequence while there's a fire burning outside, Jerry, that reminded me so much of like Gone with the Wind, just because of how it's framed and how it's like
shot.
how it's shot with the windows and everything. It's just so beautiful cinematography. It's a little long. I'm gonna be honest. It's 3.5 hours long. So it's like we were sitting. I told you about this. We're sitting in the theater, and there was a couple next to me, and they so innocently just started nodding off, not realizing the movie was 3 hours, 3.5 hours long. So I think when it hits Apple, I think more people will see it. It didn't do great at the box office, but it did as well as a 3.5 hour movie could do against Taylor Swift. I then watched Rose Red Part 1, 2, and 3. We watched Horror Express, 4-generation movie. What a great flick. I had never seen it. It is a fantastic movie. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, the inimitable Telly Savalas playing a Cossack. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Jack.
Yes, but it also has so much DNA with it for The Thing. You know what I mean? Because it's based on the same short story. Who Goes There, right?
Right.
And it's about Cushing Lee is a character that digs up a Cro-Magnon guy from China, and basically it's got a parasite in it. It's fantastic. The other big one that I enjoyed that immensely, but the one I really enjoyed, the one that kind of got me going, in a malignant and barbarian and smile sort of way. There's this movie called Cobweb.
Yeah, that was all right. I watched that.
I think it's really good. Lizzie Kaplan, Anthony Starr. Lizzie Kaplan, of course, is a great young actress. She's been in a lot of things. She's in the recent Fatal Attraction. She plays Misery in the Stephen King show. She not Misery. She plays Annie Wilkes. And Anthony Starr is, of course, Homelander from The Boys. But this movie, I wasn't expecting anything, and it starts out as a pretty basic kid experiencing weird shit movie, knocking on doors. It's quiet, and he knocks at 3 a.m, and just ridiculous. It's ridiculously, and the funny thing about this one is I watched it. No shit, I watched it October 24th, and when the movie opens, it says 1 week until Halloween. So I literally watched it on the day it was actually premiering, like it should have been watched. Perfect. But the third act is again batshit insane.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really explain it because it would ruin the movie. But it
Yeah,
needs to be it needs to be seen to be experienced. But it's a movie I really loved, and my wife wasn't watching it, but then she got engrossed in it, and she went to bed specifically so she wouldn't see it. Like she's, I got to go to bed. I can't watch this anymore
or else I won't
because
be
it was
sleeping.
because it was scaring the bejesus
You
out of
should have went in later and went start talking.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. She'll kill me. So the next one on the list, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's. We've talked about this. Feel it's like it's not for me. It's not for my generation. I'm okay with it. I've moved on. It's like that. It's like Chinese food. It's like it was in, it was out, it was gone, it's done. And it is one of the biggest hits of the horror of the October season. I'm happy that they did very well. They just announced it's going to be at Halloween Horror Nights next year, so fantastic. More power to them. I also saw this movie, and this is on Netflix. This is one of my last. Well, I have posters, but I should have put this one up earlier. Terrifier 2. I thought that was better than Terrifier 1, but only because he had somebody that actually had as much power as he did. I saw this movie on Netflix, and it's a really good.
That's got some moments. I saw this one.
The Ritual on Netflix. It's basically about it's this really interesting movie about a bunch of friends. One of their friends and another friend is involved in involved in a robbery gone wrong. And so the four guys get together to celebrate him, and they go backpacking through Scandinavia. It's
Dense
and
wilderness.
in the wilderness, and they go backpacking, and about it becomes this wonderfully weird movie. They hit a cabin and they're lost, and they get in the cabin, and the moment every one of them wakes up covered in piss is the moment where you realize you're watching a pretty great movie, because you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and they don't know what the fuck's going on. And that is a magical thing for a horror film. If the people in the movie don't know what's going on and the people watching it don't know what's going on, and then it just starts ramping up, and it's really great. And it turns out to be like, it's not everything you think it is, and then it becomes something different. And
Right.
I don't want to spoil any of it.
Right, because you will if you say something. You'll
But it becomes this really great movie
Yeah.
of four friends trying to escape the wilderness, but they're also trying to deal with their friend passing. And as somebody, Jerry and I are both people that have lost friends, and you wanted the best way to sell a friend, and like midway through, the one guy goes, "We should have just gone to fucking Vegas. We should have just gone to Vegas. He would have appreciated us drinking a lot and leaving a bottle somewhere for him." And I really enjoyed it. I also saw there's a movie called "There's Someone Inside the House," inside your house. Kind of a cool movie. It's a slasher.
Like He Knows You're Alone kind of deal.
No, it's a slasher. No, it's a slasher. The reason they say there's someone in your house is because the killer has a printing machine. He has a digital printing machine. Like one of the newfangled things, plastic guns and stuff.
Like a 3D
that sort
printer.
of thing.
Yeah.
A 3D printer. So he prints the mask of the person he's going to kill. So there's someone in your house, and it's not you, but it's got your face. And so there's some good moments, but they gave away the killer way too easily. So I was like, I then saw this movie. I couldn't get the picture. There's a movie called Apostle on Netflix. It's really good. I can't. To explain it would be it's basically about it takes place in not early England, but like early 19th century England. And basically a bunch of brothers have left England, and they've started a colony on an island off the coast of England, and they've started their own religion. And the beginning of the movie is a gentleman who's part of the Catholic Church, who's going to save his sister who's been kidnapped by the brothers. And it's got supernatural elements, but it's also just really creepy. And it's got Michael Sheen in it, and it's a really well done movie that again has a like I think one of the traits we're going to look at when we look at movies like say after 2010, Jerry, 2010 horror films, the batshit insane third acts where the movie starts off one way and goes two full acts, and then the third act hits and you don't know what you're getting. I think is the calling card of this generation of horror filmmakers. They're like, hey, I really want to build a movie like this, and then
it turns into something completely different.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, but this one's really good. It's Dan Stevens, who you may know from, he's been in a lot of stuff, but you may not you'd recognize him, but you wouldn't recognize him. He's been on Downton Abbey. He was in a movie called The Guest, which is an incredibly wonderful cult film. He's been in Cabinet of Curiosity. He's been in Welcome to the Chippendales. He's in the Sea Beast. He's a voice in the Sea Beast. He's a voice in Love, Death, and Robots. He's been in a lot of things, and it's a really good performance. And the movie is really solid because it's tense and creepy, and it's Gareth Evans, so it's a good young director. He made The Raid 2. He's made VHS 2. He's also made The Raid Redemption. So he's a good director. And so there's a lot of stuff going on in it. But it's Dan Stevens and Michael Sheen, and it's a cult thing, and then it's also something else. So highly recommended. I did Night of the Demons 2010. I had never seen it. And I just this particular October after Phantasm and Night of the Demons and everything, I kind of got into a Night of the Demons kick. But I made the mistake of watching the Night of the Demons 2010 version.
Yeah, you did.
Wow, is that a pile of trash? Wow, is that a pile of garbage, Sharon?
I made that mistake too.
I wanted desperately to love it, but it's so dumb.
Yeah.
And so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And just so blah. So
does not capture the spirit of the
doesn't capture the spirit of the original. Doesn't capture it gets a lot wrong in a short amount of time, including the most famous thing, which is the lipstick in the booby, and it gets it wrong. Jerry, it gets it wrong. So I finished up my October 31st. The Nun 2 premiered on HBO Max. I watched The Nun 2. As with everything in the Conjuring universe, solid. They're all solid. There's not a bad movie among them. They're all for what they are. I mean, you could maybe have fighting about the Annabelle movies, right? You could say they weren't as good as they could have been. The 3 Conjuring movies are great. The couple of offshoot movies, the Nun and the Nun 2 are pretty solid. You know what I mean? And it's that's how I finished up. So something like 22 movies in 31 days, which is
that's a lot.
Also a cruise. I had a 4-day cruise that I couldn't do that.
Well, besides, you have other responsibilities too, so it's not exactly.
Yeah. Well, and also we did that. We did Halloween
credit for that many.
We did trick or treating, and we did trick or treating, and can I show you my favorite Halloween outfit? And you tell me if you don't think this is the greatest thing you've ever seen. I showed it last night on Generation Movie. Because, first off, we trick-or-treating for us this year, right? I went with the boys and my wife, and we went to this one neighborhood, and this neighborhood is all in. They are all in on Halloween. We're talking people at the bottom of their driveways with tables out. People, theme houses. There's a Wonka house that had Oompa Loompas and singing and dancing and Wonka bars. They were giving out Wonka bars.
That's pretty cool.
It's fucking crazy, Jerry. There was one house that was Gotham, one house that was It was incredible. The little guys were tuckered out. It's really funny. Like, I remember when I was a kid and we were doing Halloween in northeastern Pennsylvania, we were out like, we'll see you at 11. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
we'll see you at 11. We're gonna hit all the houses. But our guys got little tuckered out. This was the best costume I saw, Jerry. I want you to see it because it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's uncanny how he has the pants color right. He has the jacket right. He has the brown gloves right. He has the right kind of hat. He looks just like Inspector Gadget. And
yeah, he does.
So I said to him, I'm like, are you cartoon Inspector Gadget or are you Matthew Broderick Inspector? And he goes, cartoon Inspector Gadget. And I'm like, the kid is like 13, 14. I don't know where he got the idea or the ingenuity to do it.
Though.
It's a great costume, Jerry. It's like I drove up to him because our kids are right behind him, going every house, and I'm just like, dude, your costume is awesome. If nobody gets it, it's their fault.
Right.
It's on them.
Well, that's
right?
cool that a younger kid would even know that,
And look how perfect the costume is, Jerry. The yellow hand coming out of the hat. That's perfect.
You found that jacket somewhere, like Salvation Army somewhere.
Look at it. It's amazing. So we had a good time. This town, this particular area, all the houses gave out candy. All the houses were decorated. There was one that was like a caveman house where they were fighting dinosaurs in the front yard. There was one house that had all the horror icons, and they were all lined up on the front, and some of them were real people. So people were like walking in and out of them, not paying the fuck attention. And like the Jason was real, and like the Leatherface was real. So it was like, I thought it was great. But I thoroughly enjoyed Halloween this year. And also it was nice. We didn't have any shows either night, so it was easy. I just watched Afterlife. I just watched Afterlife this morning with Christina Ricci, Liam Neeson, and Justin Long. Wasn't too bad. Justin Long is quickly becoming the go-to D-bag in horror films. He's like, because he's a good-looking guy and he's funny, but he might have an underside and an underbelly that's kind of like chunky. Now you have to do Terrifier 2. I did Terrifier 2. I think Terrifier 2 is better than Terrifier 1. I also, like, how do I explain this? I think Jerry understands me, and I'll explain it to you guys. I like my slasher films to have rules. You know what I mean? I like, if you're going to be a supernatural terror, that's great. I'm all for that. But I need some sort of semblance of something. And I don't know that the original Terrifier had
a structure.
I need a structure that
I think I don't know if I'm getting you the right way, but a structure. Like I'm thinking of like a Dress to Kill.
Yes, it's got to be able to. There has to be a way for somebody to escape, right? There has to be the best kills are the people who almost get away but don't.
Or visiting hours.
Yeah, or something
like
where
movies like that have like a.
Yeah, and Terrifier doesn't really have that, but and here's the thing, I understand why everybody's gravitating to it.
Well, a creepy violence doesn't talk, and it's gory as gory can get.
It's gory as gory can get, but I understand that there's a need for it, right? I understand that when you're watching it, there is a visceral kind of. I've never seen anything like this, even even with the stuff we used to watch, it was gory, but I don't know it's that gory. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it kind of borderlines. It's sort of borderlines like Trauma and Something Weird Video.
Yeah,
or movies.
Early Argento, like it's heavy.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean? And
Lucio Fulci, like it had that kind of a gore.
Yeah, like the gate, and I know exactly what you're saying. And so I don't hate them. I understand there's a place for them. I do think they need to dial it back in a sense of he needs a foil. Like there's very little fun that nobody's getting out of these movies alive, and that's why I think I like 2 better than I liked 1, just because she was,
Somebody
her
up the fight.
they gave her a good backstory, right? She her dad had passed away, and she was like, she was trying to become a Valkyrie kind of thing for like trying to live through her dad, and I got that. So I like that, and I like that she was like the thing that he couldn't deal with. Now, I also think that there's a borderline to the movie in the sense that the one kill is just so like I can't sell that movie to anybody except maybe you. You know what I mean? That one kill with that one girl in the bedroom, I can't go and say, "Hey," to my father-in-law, "You should check this out," or any of my friends. You should check this out because that one scene where it's salt in the wound and the acid and like he pulls her arm off and it's like and it just like he keeps on torturing her and torturing her and torturing her and it's like at one point she's still alive but he's torturing like just the skeleton. It's weird and it's
like recommending the guinea pig series, those Japanese movies from
yes, well it's like recommending
it's like
like I'll give you an example though. Like I think there was a point where we were doing gore films like Hostel and they were torture porn that they weren't necessarily good. I think there's good in the Terrifier movies. I think he's an interesting character. I want to know what the basis of the character is. I want to know the mythology and the backstory and everything. Like I want to know why he picked that one girl on the one night he picked. You know what I mean? Like all of those things. So I think it's better in the sense than like the Human Centipedes of the world or the Hostels of the world, which are kind of just they're lame to me. I will tell you, and this is something I haven't talked to you about. I have been rewatching the Saw films to try to give them another chance.
a chance. I get it.
Well, because maybe I was wrong. I don't think I am, but maybe I was. And
I don't think you were wrong.
I think the first 3 are good. Like the first 3 are fine, and then 4, it's off a cliff, and it's like the quality is way low, and they've been way low for a while. And whether or not 10 is good, I'll know in a couple weeks when I can watch it for on whatever free service it's on. Probably, I would imagine Peacock. But I just like I don't think I'm wrong about the franchise. I think they got to the point where like for me, they were getting to the point like with 3, they start getting to the point where like, oh, you didn't notice that in 2? Oh, that was something in 2 you should have noticed. We made an entire movie based on that one sequence in 2 that you should have paid attention to. Right. And then 3 does it for 4. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you didn't pay attention to 3? Oh, there was something you missed in 3. And it's like, nah, now you're just making shit up. Like you're like, and it's not like a Halloween franchise where they keep on bringing him back, or he has a reason to come back, or this time it's his niece, or
there's always somebody new, the new henchman. Like
there's always somebody new that like has to learn a lesson, and so I don't think I'm wrong, but I thought about giving because they appeared on Peacock one night for me. If you like this, you should watch this, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like your algorithm telling me I should be watching the Saw films again. Stupid algorithm. Let's see. Person I follow on Threads is kind of doing a movie or 2 a day of horror movies they haven't seen. It's interesting. It's really tough. I actually near the end. One of the other things I was struggling with near the end was watching a new one every day. And also wanting to fill my need of the movies I need to watch for Halloween. So I ran into a real problem in the last 3 days because usually I just put on, like, for 2 days leading up to Halloween, usually I just put on AMC. We don't have cable anymore, right? So usually I just put on AMC in the background, and whatever's playing on AMC for the 3 days leading into Halloween, I usually just, even though they're just TV prints, I'll sit through, right? And then I usually watch Fright Night and Halloween and Silver Bullet and like movies I really love for Halloween. And so I was having a tough time watching something new and then doing
I think we're creatures of habit. And I don't know.
There are things I have to watch.
Our generation, but
Halloween 2. Because I actually think, and this is I think Halloween 2 is one of the best sequels ever made.
I love Halloween 2. I always did.
Halloween 2 is so good, and I don't take this the wrong way. I have a soft spot for Halloween 3. I think there's a place for it. I think
that's a great movie on its own. People hate it because it's called Halloween.
And it doesn't have Michael Myers. But I think, I'm going to be honest with you, Jerry. I think if you looked at that movie, I think if Miramax is smart, because Miramax just bought the rights for Halloween, right? I think we've had enough of Michael right now. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. First Halloween, the reboot was great. Everybody enjoyed it. Good kills, great ending. They should have probably ended it there. To be honest, the ending in the house with the house being a trap for Michael should have ended there. Would have been a perfect end of the franchise, to be honest.
Now we need Silver Shamrock back.
Silver Shamrock would be
Silver Shamrock.
Think about the concept of bringing that and making it a full-fledged, like a series, like they've done with Chucky. They could do a lot of cool things with that, with the cult.
Oh yeah,
and they could do a lot of cool things with the company and murder robots and a plan to kill kids with masks. They could do a really good thing, and actually makes a Halloween 3 Season of the Witch more appreciated. They should.
Tom Atkins is still available.
Oh, I fucking love Tom Atkins.
He's getting old, but you can still get him.
You can still get him. That bedroom scene was awesome, though. Yes, I understand. I understand we have a wanton bloodlust right now in the country. It was awesome. The biggest news of the day, Jerry, is that, as we finish up Halloween and do our first ever episode on the Indie Escape Network, they just announced today, Jerry. How about this? So we have a Super Mario Brothers movie that's coming out. We now have in prep right now as we speak, announced today by Nintendo during an earning call. First off, Nintendo's having a big year. Like, Switch is doing very well. The Super Mario Brothers movie was such an immense hit for them that they don't know what to do with the money, right? But Hollywood is meeting Hyrule. Nintendo is developing a live-action film based on The Legend of Zelda. So earlier tonight, Nintendo's official X Twitter account wrote, "This is Miyamoto. I've been working on the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda for many years now with Avi Arad-san, who's produced many mega-hit films. I have asked Avi-san to produce the film with me, and we now have officially started development of the film with Nintendo itself, heavily involved in the production. It will take time until its completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it." Movie's going to be directed by Wes Ball, who directed the Maze Runner trilogy, and he's also directed the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which the trailer for that, Jerry, this week also dropped. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Cool. Oh, the trailer's so good. He also, it's written by Jurassic World writer Derek Connolly, produced by Miyamoto. Basically, Miyamoto helping Super Mario Brothers, making it a huge movie. So we're getting a live-action Zelda movie, which I would say is one of the biggest casting calls. Who gets to play Link on screen is going to be one of the big, that's almost for video game fans as big as Superman, right? Who gets to play Superman? But I do want to also talk a little bit about the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer dropped this week, and it is, first off, we should discuss the idea that this Planet of the Apes reboot series, we do need to show it respect, right? Because these recent ape movies
definitely
have been some of the best reboots ever made. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, they've been really good. So, but the Kingdom trailer dropped, and I got to tell you, Jerry, I think the coolest thing about the Kingdom trailer is that it looks like it's come full circle. Because basically what they're doing is it takes place many moons after
slave time.
And it's slave time. So they could, at any point, Jerry, you could look up and see a spaceship landing,
Yes, with
and
astronauts.
they could literally bring that franchise full circle. And I yes, the
Yeah,
trailer's
why
really
not?
good. It's it's got ape fighting, and it's got them enslaving humans, and it's got cities covered in like green moss, and it looks beautiful, it looks amazing, and it looks like the beginning of Planet of the Apes before Charlton Heston gets
Right.
there.
It does.
And I'll tell you, if they we're talking about all these movies that get rebooted and all these things that were franchises, or this movie gets rebooted and it's not good enough. The Apes movies have been fantastic. If they pull off bringing it all the way around and starting like another Planet of the Apes,
Yep.
like with a fucking ship crashing at the end of the movie, like that has to go into one of the it has
Caesar's
to be.
got to go though before that happens. Caesar's got to go.
Well, I think it looks like
Cornelius then. They have to if they're gonna do full circle. They got to do it.
Well, but what I'm saying is, looks like it takes place several generations after. What if the character in the trailer, Jerry, we don't know who he is. What if he is Cornelius?
That's true. That's true too.
Because the trailer is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, it's on my page.
I'd like to see what they would do with a Beneath the Planet of the Apes if they ever got to that point.
Oh yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like I think they're smart enough right now. This particular franchise, there's been quality films. Matt Reeves has been involved in all of them. Who directed the Batman last year? He has made a great bunch of Apes films. They've been some of the best reboots going. We haven't given them the flowers yet. And I think they deserve more flowers than they get, because we bitch all the time about how reboots are not great. But these 3 Apes movies have been fantastic, and this one looks stunning.
It looks good.
It looks really good. It's coming out May 24th.
Well, because it also, like you said, it reminds us of, is this the start of it now?
Is this the start of what we grew up on?
Yes.
Charlton Heston going, damn dirty ape. Like,
I have the lunchbox downstairs and everything. I'm ready.
Well, and imagine we get there and it's an action star franchise. It's like an action star. It's somebody big, like a Momoa or a
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
off me, you damn dirty ape.
Take your hands off me, and just Momoa or somebody like that. Like, I don't want it to be like Vin Diesel, but I would like it to be somebody cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be great. It could be amazing. So I think
I'm looking forward to that Napoleon movie too.
Oh my god, trailers for that movie look fantastic. It looks like it's gonna be really good. Let's see. Found out who's in talks to do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake. Will Smith and Kevin Hart. Okay. Ken brought this up last night. On Generation Movie, we're doing some Thanksgiving movies. We're doing Pieces of April, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Alice's Restaurant for November. If they're doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and it's Will Smith and Kevin Hart, the answer is a resounding no.
Oh, God.
That's a no.
I think that should just be a no, no matter who does it.
Yeah, I don't think you should do it.
You're not going to capture that John Candy, and you're just not.
You're not going to capture the pillows.
You're not going to.
You're not going to capture. You're not going to capture John Candy going like this as he's talking to the people. We're telling him he's going the wrong way. Woo! You're not going to capture.
And hopefully they don't try to make it over the top, like funny, when it's like when you're trying to push funny instead of it just being funny.
Well, and that the interesting thing about that movie is, I think that's one of the comedies from the 80s that has the most heart of any of the comedies of the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
It's got such a good beating heart to it. The comedy comes, but it's all because it's real situations and it's real, like, it's, it's one of the absolute best movies, and it's my favorite Thanksgiving movie. I think I posted that trailer in the group. I think it looks like it's going to be really good. Yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looks amazing. Kingdom looks good. Also, the 2 Godzilla movies, and Apple's Monarch series. Yes, let's talk about that really quick. There's a Godzilla movie coming out December 1st. It's already hit in Japan. It's called Godzilla Minus One. Basically, that refers to the fact that Japan, after Nagasaki, right after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were considered a level 0 country, and Godzilla attacking in this movie happens after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so it's -1 because they're really down in the country chart. But that movie looks phenomenal, and the Monarch series has Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell playing the same character at different ages, which is the best thing ever because we need more Kurt Russell in our lives.
Yeah.
And it looks like it takes place with all the different monsters that are going on in Monarch, and of course the king of monsters, Godzilla. Yes, Napoleon looks great. I can't agree more. I think that sequence with the water looks absolutely stunning. Where
Yeah,
it just looks amazing.
Frozen Lake.
And Cornelius is in the new Planet of the Apes movies. So if it is Cornelius, then I didn't know if they referenced the name or not. Played by Owen Teague. Okay. So that means it's Cornelius. That means we could definitely get something crashing in the middle of it.
Zero.
But it looks good.
Nova.
Yeah, just the Zelda movie. I think it's interesting. I think that's going to be a big fight. Who gets cast as Link is going to be one of the biggest things going. And people have wanted a Zelda movie forever, like forever and a day. Let's see, what else? That's about, we should pay respects. Matthew Perry, of course, dying horrifically is also something. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry. A lot of stories coming out about him, like making things a little bit easier for his friends, castmates, and doing things for them. So, my heart goes out to all of his fans and his family, certainly, and all of his co-actors. But that's about it. That's what we do on this show. We talk a good game and try to do it. Next week, Kyle will be back with us. Jerry will, of course, hopefully join us because we have such a good time talking and having a good time. Jerry, I this is for people in your area. What Slapjaw concerts do we have left for the rest of the year?
The only one left for the rest of the year is December 9th, and that is in New City, New York. Never been to New City, New York.
So that's the last one for the year?
Yep. So far.
That's so far. And this is something I'm just going over as I'm looking at it. We have 6 shows left. Actually, we have 6 shows left for the year. Loud and Nerdy, because we will be taking a 2-week break for Christmas and the holidays because we have all people visiting. Plus, we have 2 little kids, and we have to do Santa, and we have to do Elf on the Shelf. And my wife, unfortunately, said something along the lines of the elf is getting a mate this year. So there's going to be 2 elves like causing havoc.
Oh, that elf was amazing. I had, just real quick, my kid, it ended up in the freezer. My wife put it in the freezer. And my daughter was opening the freezer, and she was trying to grab it with tongs because you can't touch it. So she was trying to grab it with tongs, and my son was yanking her, saying, "You can't do that." They were screaming at each other. I came running out. What are you guys doing?
What are you guys yelling about?
They were trying to get it out of the freezer because he's going to freeze that. Oh, it was amazing.
I think it's one of the coolest things. I also think because it's interactive, and I think, I know we come up with these things to make kids try to act better during Christmas and holidays, but I think it's cool to, as adults, get a chance to play, have a little fun, come up with cool things for the elf to do.
I didn't eat the candy. Look, the elf did.
The elf ate it.
Look, it's all over him.
Don't forget John Goodman is in Monarch, and you hear his voice in the last one. John Goodman has been he was featured heavily in Kong Skull Island.
He plays a lot of good roles too.
Yeah, Goodman's good. I think we have a lot of good character actors that as we start to lose them, we're going to realize that what if, like, what a
Right.
dearth of actual talent we've lost recently.
Yep.
But I think ending on a high note. I'm glad spooky season's over. I'm still gonna watch horror films and stuff. Big movie coming up this weekend. We got the Marvels opening up on the 10th. I will be here live. We're gonna change the time. It's gonna be live at 4:30 on Friday to give my quick Marvels review. And tell you whether or not it's a Marvel movie you have to hit, or it's like one of the recent ones where you can kind of just
Wait it
miss
out.
it and hope for the best. But we'll decide what's going on there. Of course, I will also be back next week on our other show on the Indie Escape Network. That is, of course, Generation Movie with JW and Rich Dries. Next week we will have what's the movie? I think damn it, did I not put it? I thought I put it in. Give me a second. I'm always late on things. A day late and a dollar short, Jerry. But next week on Generation Movie, we have this amazing movie, Pieces of April. Katie Holmes, Patricia Clarkson, Derek Luke, Sean Hayes, Oliver Platt. It's a Thanksgiving movie. It's a family movie, as most movies about Thanksgiving are. They're usually about the dinner and about how much chaos is at the dinner and how many different personalities you have at your dinner. And Pieces of April is one of the best ones from the 90s. Just a great movie. And Katie Holmes at that point her star was ascending. It's before she ran into Tom Cruise and her career kind of like got pushed to the side a little bit. But it was Katie Holmes after Dawson's Creek, and it was it's one of the great Thanksgiving movies. And we will have that for you next week on Generation Movie. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Like in the comments, subscribe for us on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find the Indie Escape Network on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. Please find us. Please like and subscribe. We're going to do our best to give you the best show every week and talk about pop culture and movies and cool shit going on. And thank you for joining us tonight. One more comment. Last comment of the night. Who's got it? It is Sean. The other Godzilla Kong movies due out in February. Yeah. The new Kong movie where the rumor going around today was, oh, and also there's trailers. I'm sorry. Another big thing for tomorrow. The Kong movie due out in February is going to be amazing, right? We don't know who the bad guy is. We don't know, but Kong and Godzilla are going to be working together again, apparently. There's rumors it's going to be Space Godzilla, which would be, for kids who grew up on it on a Saturday afternoon, that's like delightful. Also, I need to point out my 5-year-old nephew, he likes big things hitting each other. He likes things scrapping. So that'll be an opening day movie for us. But I should point out for all of our fans who are watching the show, tomorrow, if you pay real close attention, among the other movies that are slated for February and March, you got the Kong movie, you got Dune, the second Dune movie, and you also have got the Ghostbusters Afterlife follow-up, tentatively titled Firehouse right now. But that trailer is dropping tomorrow. So if you pay attention and look around, the Ghostbusters trailer should be dropping around 9 a.m. tomorrow or noon, depending on what way they go. But there was a big thing on Instagram today where all it was the Ghostbusters logo, right? This little jammy here, one of the greatest logos in the history of film and movies and television and of pop culture. And it was this logo, and it froze. And then it said trailer tomorrow. So we don't know what's happening, but it's some sort of ice-related winter madness for the Ghostbusters.
I still love when they were saying, "Who are you going to call?" And all the kids go, "He-Man."
You know what, though? The Ghostbusters Afterlife, speaking of reboots or movies that are, sequels well after the fact, one of the very best. And, it got everything right, including the end of the Harold Ramis character, because he was so important. Actually, he's so important to comedy and everything in general. But they got it so right with Afterlife. Afterlife is one of the rare sequels that gets everything right. And so I'm looking forward to those characters coming back. I'm looking forward to possibly the original Ghostbusters coming back. I'm not going to lie. I would like to see Venkman and Ray Stantz and Winston Zeddemore and
Doing
you know
their thing.
I'd like to see them all back. I don't give a shit, but I also love, if you look really close, I'll move my head. One of my pops, one of the only pops I have, is Phoebe. I that kid, McKenna Grace from Ghostbusters Afterlife, love her. So we both said, who are you gonna call? And then it was Dana. Yes, Sigourney Weaver coming back wouldn't hurt either, because she's also one of the greatest things ever since sliced bread. Sigourney Weaver I've been on board with since I was 5 years old, and my dad took me to Alien. And she blew it out the door, and she's been one of my favorites ever since. I was 5, Jerry. It was tantamount to child abuse now. But have a great night. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see everybody next week. I hope this was a good episode. I hope you enjoyed it. First Indie Escape Network episode. Thank you so much. And actually, we play this at the end, too, because we want to get a set thing going. Look at this. Watch.